Welcome to a 5 at 5 where the Arsenal have gone 5 out of 5 in the Premier League. Listen, do me a favour. If your team is top of the table, you know the drill. Hit that like button. Top of the table club only. Number one, and where else can I start other than the fact that Arsenal have just gone the first 5 games of the season perfect. 5 wins out of 5. No other team in the Premier League has done that. Clearly, we are sitting top of the table. And yes, it doesn't mean too much at this stage, the fact that we're top of the table. But what does mean something is that we've ground out 5 wins in a row in the Premier League. A very difficult competition, and it's easy to do it on paper and say, oh, these games look easy or you should win them. Palace have shown they're no mugs. Even Fulham have shown they're no mugs. Arsenal have done very, very well to accumulate those 15 points already. End of the season, when we looked at last season, the first 3 games, they made all the difference between us getting Champions League and not. And this season, we now start a run where we're playing Europa League on Thursdays and Premier League on Sundays. Things will get much, much more difficult. The squad will get much, much more stressed. But at the end of the season, we may well look back at these first 5 games and say, this is what made the difference. When we had 1 game a week, we did the business. Now, let's focus on one player in these first 5 games where we've won all 5. First time since the 2004-2005 season we've done that. And a player that's been instrumental in that is Gabriel Jesus, obviously. Yesterday against Villa, he actually set a club record for most goal involvement in their first 5 games for the club with 6. He's got 3 goals and 3 assists, and he broke Mesut Ozil's record of 5 goal involvement in his first 5 games. Jesus has absolutely made a huge difference to Arsenal Football Club, and fingers crossed he continues that in the massive game on Sunday, where hopefully we can go and do 6 out of 6. Number 2, and this is a player that I don't think has had enough praise coming out of the game yesterday, but it was Sammy Laconga. When was the last time Sambi started, got any minutes for Arsenal? It's been a while, and he came back and adapted brilliantly. Let me talk to you about his game in numbers. Pass completion, 93%. 5 out of 6 accurate long balls. 3 out of 3 ground duels won. 2 out of 3 aerial duels won. 3 interceptions. 4 recoveries. He wasn't dispossessed. He wasn't dribbled past. Sambi Laconga did brilliantly in there. And you know what? It does show that we do need cover because we've got so many midfielders out. But it also shows that we can't just kind of sleep on Sambi. I know we all want that cover, but it's a difficult one for the club now. If you think about it, who do we get in? Do we get someone in that ranks higher than Sambi Laconga? What does that do for his development? Or do we get someone in that, potentially slots underneath Sambi Laconga? It's actually a bit of a problem now for the club, in my opinion, because Laconga's come in and shown that actually, maybe we're forgetting that we signed him because we believe in him. He's got a lot of potential. And if you're not going to let players have a chance at that first team when the need arises, then when are they ever going to be able to prove themselves? So now it's a tricky one. We're in talks apparently for Douglas Luiz from Aston Villa, who scored direct from a corner against us yesterday. What would you like to see Arsenal do? Give Sambi a chance? Add someone who's clearly got more experience and slots in above Sambi? Or someone that's almost like cover for Sambi and we give him an opportunity to prove himself and stake a claim for the first team? Let me know what you want to see in the comments below in terms of that central midfield signing. Number 3, and this is something I noticed because my seat in the ground yesterday was right behind Aaron Ramsdale. And in the 71st minute, a few of us that spotted it were laughing in the crowd because ball goes out, it's a goal kick to Arsenal, and the ball boy, just doing what a ball boy does, just chucks the ball to Aaron Ramsdale for him to get on with the game. Aaron Ramsdale is like shaking his head and going, slow, go slow it down. And, look, it was funny, and you've got to play those games to an extent, in terms of game management. And I think for many, many years, Arsenal weren't very good at the dark arts of football. And under Mikel Arteta, obviously learning all about the dark arts from the experts at Man City, he's brought that to Arsenal, and the team are a lot less naive and they're a lot better with the game management. But here's what I want to talk to you guys about. At home against Aston Villa, a team that we should feel confident against in terms of being better than, we're 1-0 up, 20 minutes to go, and we're already trying to encourage the ball boys to waste time? Why is it that we're not trying to go and get that second goal? I feel like yesterday there was a bit of a lack of ambition from Arsenal in terms of time wasting, and rather than kind of saying let's push on, let's go in to get that second goal. Ultimately, when it's only one goal in it, a lot of teams they kind of come to a club like Arsenal or other top six clubs, and they'll play for a draw. If they're 1-0 down with 10 minutes to go, that's part of the plan to an extent. They know they're going to be able to shut you out completely, and they just hope that in the last 10 minutes they can get a set piece or do something, get an equaliser, and then defend for their lives. That's a game plan that many teams adopt. So for Arsenal to try and waste time and get to that 80th minute plus part of the game with only one goal, with only a one goal advantage, seems to be playing into the hands of teams that come with those tactics. So, what do you think? Do you think it was a right thing for Arsenal to kind of have that lack of ambition, or do you think that we should have been pushing for the second goal? Ultimately, we did go and get that second goal. We kicked into gear when Villa equalised, but it's not always going to be that easy. And thankfully, when Villa got the goal, we actually had enough time to respond rather than it being an injury time equaliser. I want to see Arsenal push on, especially when we're at home, and go and get a cushion. Number 4, and this is something I noticed with Granit Xhaka. He made me laugh in the game yesterday, 82nd minute. Just some examples, and I'm going to be fair to him. I don't think he's necessarily captain material, but I do think that he does act like a leader on the pitch. Anyone that's seen the All or Nothing documentaries as well, you would have noticed that when we come in after games or at half time and we're losing and it's not going well, a lot of players sit there silently in their own thoughts, and I get that. Xhaka is often the one that's saying something out loud, challenging people. I don't always like the way he does it, to be honest with you, but it does show that he sees himself in a leadership role in this team. 2 examples of where I saw this on the pitch yesterday. In the 82nd minute, Erdegaard kicks the ball out of play. Villa get the throw on because he was obviously picked up a bit of a knock, and I do hope that he's fit for Sunday against United. But anyway, the Villa player who was going to take the throw on seemed to just want to get on with the game and not return the ball back to Arsenal. Granit Xhaka did not let that go. He was fuming at the Villa players. And to the extent that the referee was literally having to push Xhaka back because he was in that Villa player's face, having to go at him, bringing everyone's attention to the fact that he's not returning the ball. What's clever about that is that Granit Xhaka knows as well the crowd are going to pick up on that. So we're going to become a bit more hostile if they don't return the ball back. Granit Xhaka and Granit Xhaka alone was fighting that fight in that moment in an attacking position for Aston Villa to return that ball back to Arsenal. And it's the small details like that where you want your players to be on the ball, trying to get every single advantage in every single moment. And I like that about Granit Xhaka. He was making sure that, playing the statistics, you don't want Villa to have possession of the ball in that area of the pitch. In the end, he put on so much pressure that another Villa player, when the ball got thrown into them, they kicked it off the pitch so Arsenal could take the throw on from that position. Now, that's one moment. And the other moment I saw with Ramsdale, he continually does this. It's not the first time I've seen him do this in games. Few minutes to go, Ramsdale's taking a goal kick long. Granit Xhaka motions to Aaron Ramsdale, throw on. He wants that ball, not necessarily for Ramsdale to necessarily kick it out, but he wants that to be challenged right on the touchline so that Arsenal can get a throw on out of that. But he does not want that to be contested in the middle of the park. These little moments show Granit Xhaka is really involved in the game mentally. He's very switched on, and he is kind of portraying some of those leadership skills that he thinks he's got. And I think that's exactly what he needs to be doing rather than being an official captain. I think that brings a level of intensity and heat on him that I don't think he responds very well to, but unofficially being one of those leaders, I'm all for it, and I love to see it. Number 5, and perhaps one of the most impressive things about Arsenal this season, we have conceded 4 goals in our Premier League games. And yes, that's not the impressive part. The impressive part is how quickly we have responded to conceding a goal. When we conceded against Leicester twice, it took us 2 minutes on each occasion to respond with a goal of our own. Against Fulham, we scored 8 minutes later. Yesterday against Villa, they scored. We scored 3 minutes later. I don't know what the Premier League records are for a team over the course of a season, for example, hitting back with a goal after conceding. But right now, Arsenal have conceded 4 goals. And in total, It's only taken us 15 minutes to come back and score a goal of our own. To me, that shows a really impressive level of character and focus and resilience. We don't drop, our heads don't drop. We get straight back at that team. It's almost a lesson. Don't score against us because it will just kick us into life. And one thing that I think is crucial in that is the reaction of the fans in the stadium. This year, I've been so impressed with the fans. We don't get down about it. We don't start sulking or complaining at our team. Yep, it lasts about 10 seconds where we show a disappointment with a groan or two, and then we're back on it. We're supporting the team, we're cheering for them, and we're pushing that team forward. We need to make this a habit that lasts more than just the first 5 games, or in fact, let's improve the habit even more and let's stop conceding. But we know in football, you do concede, and I love to see how Arsenal are responding to that. A brilliant facet of our game that I feel like has gone slightly unnoticed, and we're not getting the credit we deserve from it. But watch out for it. The way Arsenal react to goals is a thing of beauty. That's it for my 5 at 5. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please do like, get involved in the comments, share it. And also, you'll see in my match reaction that I've pinned below, I'm doing a fundraiser to raise money for the floods in Pakistan because the country is hugely affected and it's a very, very sad state of affairs. I've put the link for that fundraiser in the description below. I'm trying to hit £2,000. Yesterday I was trying to hit £1,000, but the response has been so good, I've doubled that target. Please do donate. As it stands, I'm about £400 away from reaching that target, and every penny from the views of this video and yesterday's match reaction video will also be given in that cause, and I'll put that myself on the link and you'll see that come through in a few days. So please do get involved and hit me with your prediction for the United game, a massive game, Arsenal's biggest test this season. Put your prediction for that fixture in the comments below. Until next time, take care and fingers crossed for 6 in 6.